This is the last tutorial in the series of creating bathrooms, and my model probably has more bathrooms than yours, and this series of videos is helpful, I think, just to watch and see some of the techniques that I use that allow me to pretty quickly create the spaces that I want to. I know that it's very helpful for me to watch other people using this program, because sometimes I see something that they've done, executed a command, and I go, whoa, wait a minute, how did you do that? And then I learn something. So you may not need to utilize all of the things that I do show in these tutorials, but it'll give you an opportunity, hopefully, to learn something from the tutorials. It'll give you some sort of expertise in handling things. So what we're looking at right now is the master bathroom rendering from the effort in the last tutorial. And when I look at that, the first thing that I see is that the plumbing's on the wrong side of the shower. In other words, it should be on the wall, on a real wall, not a shower wall. This is some sort of material, maybe tile or something. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over to that and click on this object, and you see this little arrow here. I'll simply flip it. So now the shower, the plumbing part of the shower, is on a wall here. And at some point in time, I might change these two walls to glass. This is probably glass, but I'll change this wall to glass, and then I have tile on these two walls. So looking at what we have here, some of the things that are just standard peeves with me, pet peeves that I like to do, is that as this door kind of swings into this space, and if I can move this door back this way, it'll have a wall to open up against. And so what that means is if I take this door and change it so that it's over here by 6 inches, so I'll change that. Remember, I like to have 6-inch returns for casing. Now what happened here? Whoops. Click on this, 6 inches. There's something going on here. Let's see. Constraints are not satisfied is the message that I'm seeing, so I'll just remove the constraints. And so in this closet, I'll have the hanging along this wall and along this wall. In this closet, the hanging will be along this wall and this wall. But now you can see that that allows me to create similar and just come up here and put the wall here. So I'm going to move this over 6 inches. I tried to line it up there. So if I simply move that over this way 6 inches, I'll have my return on that door. And then I will say create similar and put that door right in here and flip it. And then I'll delete this door and fill it. Extend trim there. So I would ideally want this door to not project at all into the room, but you can see now that I can take this extrusion and drag it back to here, and take this extrusion and drag it over to here. So I like what I'm seeing here. All I need to do now is put in my cabinets and the mirrors, and that should be in pretty good shape here. So I'm going to delete this and take this section now and just drag it up to here so that I can see what it looks like. So we'll go to that view, and you can see it up here. I'm going to change this just for processing speed. The computer will operate quicker if I have it. So there's my countertop, and let's go to the first floor. I'm going to close this guy down and this guy down. And then let's type ZE, and that's very weird. So I'm going to, so I was having trouble seeing the first floor, so I paused it for a moment. And what had happened was my crop region was very, very thin, and it wasn't showing my first floor plan. So I had to extend the crop region out so that I could see that. So I have my 3D view, which right now I don't need. Section 1, first floor plan and second floor plan. I'm going to type WT, and now I can see all three of those. And here's my section view, and maybe I should take a section view here too, and I'll WT again. And so now I have my section view, so I can pick my cabinets, and I know I need one of these, and it's going to go underneath the sink, which I haven't put the sinks in yet, but I can put the countertops in first this time. So, or the base cabinets. So I'm going to say, create similar, come over to the floor plan, and just put it in. I can see that the arrows are on the correct location. They're on this side, so that's where I want my cabinets to be. If I had put my sink in, it'd be very easy for me to or sinks. Yeah, that's true. I probably have a couple of sinks in here. So I'm going to need two of these cabinets. You can look at it here in the section view of what we're doing. And it's nice to use the WT command when you're toggling your windows. And so at the same time you're working in one plan, you can see the results in the other. So that what we have here is pretty good right now, but I think I'm going to go back and grab one of these sinks. Looks like maybe that sink went away, but I'll use this one, create similar, and come over here. Remember that the offset had to be 5 inches in order for it to sit on top of my counters. So the creator of this particular family assumed that the countertops with these kind of sinks would be bathroom, and that the countertops would be 5 inches lower. And remember, in a previous tutorial, I mentioned that often the countertops in bathrooms are lower than 3 feet, but we can leave them at 3 feet. That's fine. So I need to put 2 of these in here. This is the master bathroom. It might need to have 2 sinks. And if I dimension, say, from here to the center of this sink, to the center of this sink, to the center of, or to the edge of this wall, and put my dimensions there and make it equal, then they're equally spaced. So there's the same amount of space from this wall to the center line of here as to here. Maybe we want to stretch them out a little farther, but for this class, I think this is fine. I've got my sinks in there, and now I can go back and align to the center of the sink in my cabinet to there. And let's see, I can grab another one of these. I can click on it and just copy it from the center of here to the center of here. You can see that doesn't leave me with a whole lot of space in the middle. So I might choose to make these cabinets a little bit smaller. Let's do that. I'm going to come over, click on the object, and then come over to the properties and say, let's make it 42 instead of 48. And now remember, it makes it smaller about the center axis. So I'll do that here as well. Let's come up and make it 42. And that's still really a useless amount of space there. So I'm going to make it even narrower than that. Let's make it 3 feet. And we'll make this one 3 feet. And now I have more room to put, I'll be able to put drawers over here, and drawers over here. So this is the guide that we want. Create similar. I'll come over here and put it in right there. And I can make it much wider. So let's see what that total dimension across here is. We just measure it. It's 2'3". So that would be 27. And that would be a standard dimension. So let's make that 27 inches. I'm looking for 27, and look at that. There's one that I made before, and that looks good, except the cabinets would be flush here, and then that little filler piece would go in over there. And I can copy this guy from here over to here, and I like that. And then I want to put one in the middle, and so let's copy it again, create similar, put it in the floor plan, and it's a little bit wider than I want it to be. I can't see the face of it because my section line is cutting through it, so I'll drag it back. Now I can see the face of it. And let's just see if I make this centered, if it does in fact 6 and 6. So I have 12 inches between there. It looks like it's centered right now. Yeah, it is too wide. Okay, so I don't really have that. So let's make it, what's the narrower size of that? 10 inches. That's not a 9 inches would be a standard size. And then we'll center that, and there'll be a little filler set in between each one of those, little wood filler. All right. Looking for the equal symbol, which is right here. Now they're equal, so it's equal space now. And I'm going to delete that and unconstrain it. So now I just need to take my cabinets and move them back. So if I say align, and I come back to here, I can align that cabinet and this cabinet, but I don't have the back of this cabinet to use, so I'll align the rest of it with the front. So look at that. Now we have another bathroom laid out. All I have to do now is put the mirror in, which we know is pretty simple to do. It's an extrusion. So I will say architecture, component, model in place, still in the casework. So now I have 15 casework objects in that family. I will extrude it. Let's see, the constraints are not good. That I'm going to draw it as lines this time, so I'll just come down 3/4 of an inch instead of using that rectangle command. Come all the way back over here and then close it. So now I just need to change the constraints. I'll make it 6 feet again to start out with, and the bottom of the object will be 3 feet, and we'll change it to mirror. So I'll just type mirror, double click on that object, it changes the properties to the mirror, and it looks good for now. Let's see what happens. There it is in my section. I'm just going to drag this up to the ceiling for now, and there's my mirror. So now let's see, what do I want to do here? I think we'll cut this out. I didn't do that yet, so I'm going to escape. I want to grab this countertop, but something's stopping me from doing that. Oh, I haven't completed my mirror command by accepting that. Okay, so now let's grab this, edit in place. We're going to create a void form. Done this many times before, so this shouldn't be anything new to you if you've been watching the other tutorials. I want to offset by 1 inch, and I'll just come in here and I'm saying pick a line. So I'll slightly move my line to the my mouse to the side that I want the offset to be. This one I want to be 0 because it's a straight line across from here to here. And it looks good. I'll say okay to that, and then I will say cut. And what happened? Oh, I think the settings for that might not be correct. Let's click on that. I might not have this, the properties of this changed to the height of the mirror. And so you can actually see my void extrusion right now. It doesn't cut through the countertop. So I need it to cut through the countertop. I can just drag it down like that. We don't see the void extrusion, so it doesn't have to be exact. But if I say cut now, it should cut through it. And sure enough, it did. Okay, so I'll accept that and do the same thing one more time. I could grab the extrusion, I might be able to copy it over, but it's just as easy, I think. Model in place, casework, okay. Now we've got 16 of those, and I'm going to make my void form again, void extrusion. This is my active, this should work now. And this was my active view, so Revit was saying, well, what plane do you want me to cut? So I would have had to define a plane here, but I'll make this my active view, and it should work now. Yeah, and so I'm gonna pick a line, do the offset again, which is what, 1 inch. Come over here. Grab all of these, draw a line without an offset, because I just want to connect these two, this line and this line. Okay, and again, look at it, it's got the wrong, let's accept that and watch what happens. Now you can see it, that's the actual void extrusion. I need to actually have it extend into the countertop because I want to cut the countertop, and then I'll say cut, and it's not letting me cut it. What would that be? Because I didn't select the void form, so I'll have to do it again. What I failed to do was actually tell Revit what I wanted to cut, and that's this countertop. So I want to edit that in place, and now I want to create the void form, which I didn't do the last time. So it's good to see errors as well as successes, because you may find that you've made the same error as well. And now you've seen me make it, and you can hopefully identify. And what happened here was I didn't select the countertop as the object that I wanted to edit. And so therefore Revit didn't know what that void form was supposed to cut. But it might now. Let's have a look. I'm going to say okay just to show the void form again, and you can see, and just grab that. And I can leave it like that. It doesn't need to be that big, but we don't see the void forms in our model. So I'll just say okay, and it should cut it, and it did. And so we're looking pretty good there. If I zoom out here, you might say these should be far, these should be farther apart, and that would not be wrong. So sometimes you'd have a sink in the dressing room, sometimes you wouldn't. In this case, I'm not going to. I'm simply going to, let's see, what can I do? Well, let's say I want to duplicate everything that's here and see what happens. So I'll simply just copy all of these things from here to here. How does that work out? So I have some extra space, and this obviously isn't centered. I also talked about putting tall cabinets here. I don't think I have any tall cabinets in my library, so I'm not going to do that, but I could. Let's see. Quickest way to fix that, I guess, would be to dimension from the face of the wall to the center line of this to the face of this wall, and then place it somewhere and say equal. So now that cabinet is equal. It's equally in the middle here. And we'll make, I actually don't need this kind of an under cabinet counter there. Do I have a different one without it? Yeah, I have this one. So I'm going to say match properties. This will be the one that I want. And I'll click on that, and I'll click on that. So now we have those in there. And the difference is that this has a drawer at the top, whereas where the sink is, it doesn't have a drawer because the sink projects down into the cabinet, into the countertop, and then into the cabinet itself. So that looks pretty good. Let's make these guys wider. And so how about 18 inches? And I like that. I'm going to move this guy over just a little bit, and I'm going to mirror him so that I have two. That look like that. And then I'll have another bank over here of this guy, and I'll change the width of it in a second. But let's see. I think that's fine. I'm going to, well, let's make this guy a little bit wider. So right now it's 9 inches wide. It doesn't have to be that narrow. Let's make it 15 inches wide. All right, and I just delete the dimensions and constrain it. And then I use the align command, which we use a lot. And I'm multiple alignment, so I have to uncheck that. So I'll pick a new object and align that. And then this guy will just measure how much do we have space here, and I'll make that drawer that closest that to a standard size. It's 1 foot 9, which is a 1 foot 9 3/4. I'll make it 1 foot 9. So let's come over here and see if we have a 12 and 9 is what? 21, 23. Yeah, let's do that. And then align it. That looks good. Now I can actually delete these and use the power of Revit and just click here, here, and here, and then mirror all of those about the midpoint of that. And we're looking good in terms of everything except, let's see if I can copy this over. I'm going to copy it over to there and then just drag it. Face of the wall here to the face of the wall. Oops. And my bathroom is almost done. I need to put a toilet in here, and I'm finished laying out the cabinets for the 4th tutorial. Now, you don't have to duplicate everything that I've shown in your floor plan, but by watching me create the various bathrooms in my model, you might pick up some tips and tricks in order to do yours. So the last thing, of course, is architecture component. Now I'm looking for the toilet, TOI, in the search. Should give me the toilet, the 3D toilet. And it's questionable which way that should be facing, but I'm going to put it here. So that's, as far as I can see, that's the extent of what I want to do. I'm going to save it, and then we're going to stop this tutorial.